Welcome back to our channel. Today we shall be talking about the history and current crisis in Syria. Kindly watch till the end, subscribe, like and share. Thank you. The Syrian crisis began in 2011 and has evolved into one of the most devastating conflicts of the 21st century. Origin of the crisis, 2011. Arab Spring uprising. Protests against President Bashar al-Assad erupted in March 2011 as part of the wider Arab Spring movement. Demonstrators called for political reforms and an end to authoritarian rule. Government crackdown. The regime responded with violent crackdowns, escalating tensions and transforming the protests into an armed rebellion. Civil War, 2012 to 2013. Fragmentation of opposition groups, including the Free Syrian Army, FSA, formed to combat the regime. The conflict became increasingly sectarian. Emergence of extremist groups like Al-Nusra Front, an al-Qaeda affiliate, and later ISIS gained prominence, further complicating the conflict. Rise of ISIS and regional involvement, 2014 to 2015. ISIS's expansion. The Islamic State seized large territories in Syria and Iraq, declaring a caliphate in 2014. International intervention. The US-led coalition began airstrikes against ISIS in Syria, while Russia intervened militarily in 2015 to support Assad. Humanitarian crisis. Over 500,000 deaths have been reported, with millions displaced internally and abroad. Syria's infrastructure, including hospitals, schools, and homes, has been decimated. Proxy war dynamics. Assad regime, supported by Russia, Iran, and Hezbollah, the regime recaptured much of Syria's territory after 2015. Opposition, supported by Turkey, the Gulf states, and Western nations, although backing diminished over time. Kurds, the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF, supported by the US, emerged as a key force against ISIS. Current state, 2024. Syria remains fragmented, with the Assad regime controlling much of the country, Kurdish forces governing the northeast, and opposition groups holding parts of the northwest. The humanitarian crisis persists, with millions still displaced and reliant on international aid. Recent escalations, particularly in northwestern Syria, have further exacerbated the situation. Here are key facts about the ongoing crisis in Syria. 1. Renewed fighting in northwestern Syria. A significant escalation of violence has occurred, with opposition forces, including Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS, launching offensives against Syrian government forces in Aleppo, Idlib, and Hama. This is the most intense fighting since a 2020 ceasefire agreement brokered by Russia and Turkey. 2. Humanitarian crisis. Thousands of civilians have been displaced due to airstrikes by Syrian and Russian forces targeting rebel-held areas. Aid delivery has been severely hindered in affected regions, exacerbating humanitarian conditions. 3. Role of external actors. Russia and Iran continue to support the Assad regime militarily and diplomatically. Turkey has a complex role, supporting some opposition groups while conducting its own operations against Kurdish forces in northern Syria. The United States has condemned the escalation and urged de-escalation and protection of civilians. It also supports the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF, in northeastern Syria. 4. Terrorism and regional instability. The offensive by HTS, a terrorist organization, underscores the persistent challenge of extremism in Syria. The instability has created opportunities for groups like ISIS to regroup and exploit the chaos. 5. Political deadlock. The Assad regime has resisted implementing UNSCR 2254, which calls for a political settlement to the conflict. This has hindered efforts toward a long-term resolution. 6. Global and regional impact. The conflict has implications for neighboring countries, including Turkey and Lebanon, which host large numbers of Syrian refugees. The crisis continues to strain international humanitarian and diplomatic resources. Thank you for watching. Please let us know in the comments section what you think. Please kindly subscribe, like and share.